get this live stream going. Otherwise, I promise I will pre-record it and send it out there to the universe. But Jacqueline Jax for AVA Live Radio. Good to see you in here. Hopefully we'll have and maintain a really good stream. For those of you catching it on the live, great to have you here. Thanks for joining and thanks for being a subscriber to the channel. If you're catching it on the replay, then get ready because I want your questions down below. And if you have any additional questions from this stream of what the content is that I'm going to deliver to you on planning a music release and making more online sales, then you can ask your questions below to me and I will answer them either in a future video or right here on the stream, right on the channel. It's kind of cool. I like YouTube that way. So many of you guys are struggling because obviously on the show we talk a lot about music marketing and talk about songwriting and production and everything. And I think even as every single show, I will talk to at least one artist that says, I am great at making music, but I am terrible at marketing. So anything you can do to make that a little more clear for me, I would appreciate. That has inspired this video today. And I know I don't get a chance to make enough of them, but get a sheet of paper, get committed to this video because I really want you guys to learn what I have to offer today because this is something you can do right now as you release music. Not only that, but you know, 2018 is right around the corner. We're going to be doing a lot of different things using the tools that are available to you. And I will make more videos on using them and how to release music, but I think this one is going to be really applicable to things that you can do right now to boost those sales, to make a career in music. And I see people doing it all the time. I actually work with artists that are doing it. I help them plan it, so I know it works. And I want to see all of you guys taking advantage of it. I see a lot of holes in the marketing plans that you all kind of implement or try to, and there's just some little things that you need to button up in a lot of cases. Now, there's a lot of people out there that I talk to in a day, so this isn't going to be the perfect cookie cutter explanation for everyone, but it's going to hit base with all of you. You guys are going to understand when I'm done with this video, and you're going to see some things really, really clearly. I guarantee that. All right, so if you're catching this on the replay, listen to it all the way once first. After that, go back and listen to it again so that it gets time to sink in and digest. So, the value of a lengthy pre-sale. This is something everybody misses on. Everybody misses on because I only ever get the opportunity to help you with a pre-sale if you're with a record label. Whenever you guys are independent, I'm always getting the music after it's already been released and you haven't had a time to even chance to talk to me about planning or doing anything structure-wise that will set you up to make money. And that is kind of difficult because I want you to benefit from the most amount of money that you're going to make when you release an album, which is in the pre-sale. So lengthy pre-sales are really good. Now, a lot of you, I can see why you get confused because the big names will do surprise album releases, right? Like you just didn't know it was coming, then all of a sudden they release something. That is not the way you should do it. So even though like Beyonce and all these people are out there releasing surprise albums, that's not what you are to do as a new artist because you need to give more people a longer amount of time to be able to get traction on the album, to purchase it, and to get ready for it. You need to have content building up on these social media pages because just making something and then throwing it out there in the universe and expecting it to stick and sell and make you money and make you a career is not good planning. It's just not. It might get you a little exposure, but at the end of the day, it's really going to be a waste of your great content, especially if you spent so much time making a song just amazing, you know? I always say that the amount of time it took you to make the release, double that amount of time to promote the release. And the reason why is because you should be promoting from the day you decide to start on it. Even when you're writing songs that you don't even know are going to be part of an album, you should be talking about them. It should be part of your daily routine. Now, a lot of you guys are going to tell me that, oh, I don't have time. Listen, if you guys know me, I don't have time to live stream, but yet here I am on a live stream telling you how to release your music. So if I can do it and make music and be with a publishing company and go and do the radio show and promote other artists and help them launch their albums and do all this stuff, you can talk about the songs that you're writing, because there's no excuse. I'm doing way more stuff than you are, and I'm still getting stuff done. So I don't want to hear you guys say that writing is all I can handle or recording is all I can handle. I just can't tackle more, because music is going to be a side hustle forever if you approach it that way. You're going to have to commit to the marketing and dealing with the audience. You can't just exist in the studio today. It just doesn't work that way. I wouldn't even recommend it when you make it really big. The reason why is because there will always be another artist that is more connected with their audience, and you cannot replace that connection with your audience. And I would never want to. I would never want you to remove yourself from it, because your audience is your strength. And having those super fans, having those people that will hit the road for you and just team for you and really go to bat for you, those are the people that you need the strongest connections with. So not having those relationships in your life, you're missing out big time. Okay, so the length of the release, let's get back to that. From the day that you start deciding you're going to do an album or even write a song or create a song or get on the studio and download a program, you could be talking about that. So that would increase the length at which you had time to either pre-sell it or at least get exposure from it. And this isn't rocket scientist. You've got so much that you could be releasing. It could be selfies in the studio. That's part of it. It could be live streams. That's incredible right now because live streams are everything. It could be pieces of the music, animation videos, live performances, singles online, actually singing some of the songs, maybe doing a little acoustic version of a song you're working on or a chorus of something you're working on. You don't have to hide it because it's not perfected. And believe me, curiosity is what we're looking to gain. The best marketing strategy is by getting people so curious about what you have coming out and what the finished product will sound like that they're willing to invest in it to get it or push that play button every time you ask them to. You want to be something anticipated, and the only way to build anticipation is to get out there in front of people. You can't hide. You just simply can't. People that are using masks and not showing their faces and not being up front and center with people, that authenticity is lacking, and it's going to kill you as far as marketing. You're never going to do this as a career if you can't be in touch with your people. So giving yourself that extra time by starting early and talking about what you're doing, that is so good for your marketing. It's just natural, authentic stuff, and I want to see you guys doing it more. Now, some things that will happen, the longer the fans have to order, the more likely they are to order the album. You can do that through crowdfunding. You can do it through a Patreon page. You can just set up a pay link to pre-order your album on one page on your website and drive traffic to it. And maybe make a nice video of what you're doing, maybe a little studio tour of what's happening right now, and then change up the video from time to time so people go and revisit the page. But the big thing is you want to be driving traffic to a page on your website to purchase. Because one, there are no distractions when people are on your own website. Two, you can control how it looks, how it reads, what's going on the page. You don't have that barrier broken down, right? And once that barrier breaks down on social media, thank you, JD, nice to have you here. Once that barrier breaks down, like the algorithm gets in the way or whatever gets in the way, you now have lost control of your audience. I talked on the show the other day about something that's coming up in the future. And this was on New Music Monday just recently. It was a thing called, I think it's like smartphone or smart message or something, and it's basically a company that gives you a new phone number that you can get your people to sign up for, to receive like a text message from you, and you can sell things through it. Now that's something, it's brand new technology. It is kind of cutting the middleman a little bit, because you can send a message to one person, or you can send a message to like your entire fan base if they sign up for it. It's probably costly in the beginning. I do have an inquiry into the company asking them what the costs are and what the whole technology is, but eventually as they go into 2018, it's gonna get cheaper. The reason why this is working right now is because if you look at Facebook Messenger, you look at Twitter Messenger, all the messengers in the social media apps, they're already well spammed, right? People have abused the privilege of it, and it's really difficult. A lot of people aren't answering them. They're not even looking at them. I mean, recently Twitter passed a amendment to their rules that you can't use a second-party app to automatically tweet people in the DM. And the reason why is because nobody was looking at them, and DM was basically a lost space to us all. So we kind of gained it back. But there's still eventually going to be a source of advertising for all the social media pages, much like Facebook. Our pages right now, if you have, you know, a 1% reach on your page, you know, you're lucky. But hopefully before that happened, you got people to sign up for your notifications, or you're finding a way to talk people into signing up for your notifications based on value. So there's a couple of ways to get around it. There's also a whole bunch of rules and algorithms that I can tell you about, but we'll do that in another video. So basically, you want to try and get directly to your customer. How do you do it? Well, right now you have the options of notifications, which aren't consistent. You can do cell phone text messaging. You could have a text message cell phone dedicated just to your followers. That would be really interesting, because you would now control the space if they're willing to give you the phone number. That would be kind of cool, because then you wouldn't have to pay for it and you could handle it yourself. The only thing is that you might not be able to just yet send a text message out to the masses, so it might limit you there just a little bit, but there's always email. Email's still good. The thing is that you have to train your audience by giving them so much value that they will always open your emails. And that can be a little difficult, because you can't spam and expect people to do that. I get a lot of spam mails from people on their email, and it will just be stuff that it's like they're just, you can tell they're not talking to their audience, they're talking at their audience. That kind of mentality will turn your email into Blockville. It will just make everybody not want to subscribe and just unsubscribe. They'll figure, you know what, I'll catch you on social media, or I'll find you somewhere else where, you know, it'll be a reminder. That's the whole purpose of email, is to make sure that it's valuable and that it gets in touch with the people who really want to stay in touch. But if you abuse it and it's not interesting, or it's not telling a story, it's not something that they're going to stay in touch with. So you have to be careful and walk that good line, you know, and just be really authentic. I personally love websites. I've loved them all the way through. Even when there was MySpace, I've always liked websites, because you can control the space. It's never going to be something where people are blocking you, because if they go to your .com, or maybe you have even a .com designated for your album, they're always going to find you, and it's always going to be searchable and SEO friendly. So those are good ways to keep that control there. You could get exposure through social media pages when they're hot and they're available and the tools are working, and then make sure you convert people as a follower to your email or wherever the list is that you need them to be. All right, so let's move on. Incentives. Incentives. Now, if I were a fan of a band, what would make me want to buy their album pre-sale? Just think about that. If you can answer that question, then you can figure out what your fans would want to buy from you in order to have that little bit of extra incentive. Now, it could be a price adjustment. In other words, if they purchase now, they get all the music at a discounted price. And then as the months roll on, or the weeks, I would say months roll on, it gets a little bit more expensive every month. until you get to the regular price of the album. That's one way to do it. You can also offer t-shirts, offer merchandise before the album goes on sale so that you could boost those sales for yourself. So maybe you're going to make some limited edition merchandise that will only be released in the pre-sale because you're only going to make the amount that you sell. So it's more like a crowdfund. That's promoting your album because you're going to be wearing them yourself. You're going to be promoting them. You're going to be talking about the album, so you show off all the merchandise that is as you get the samples in. They can purchase it at that time. It won't be available past that. You'll have an expiration date as to how long you're going to offer it and at what cutoff point you're going to say, okay, this is it, last day. This is all this t-shirt's going to do in the run, and we're going to go order it, and you guys are going to get it on the day the album delivers. That's a great way to talk about your album coming out and a great way to get those extra sales, because you would get the t-shirt sale or the merchandise sale and the album sale, and they would get delivered both at the same time. So those little incentives really help your audience get on board, especially if the merchandise is cool. If it's cool enough for you to wear it yourself, then you'll probably be able to sell it to people who really like your music as they're getting on board. Now, some of you guys are gonna have like 100 fans, and some of you will have 1,000. There will be some of you I'm talking to right now that have 500,000 fans or 1 million fans. I just interviewed quite a few actually for American Pride magazine that have 500,000, 1 million fans. They have live streams that are going to 3-4 million people. It depends on your audience, and how long you've been at this and doing it the right way is going to be in direct relation to how many fans you have. And how many fans you have is not necessarily going to equal album sales. As we saw in like Selena Gomez, she's got like millions of fans on her Instagram, but we know she's not selling millions of albums. So as I think out of the gate, she was in close to, what was the first day was, let's see, I think I have it written down. Oh, I can't pull it up. I think it was like 25,000 albums, but yet she's got millions of people on Instagram. So your number on these social media pages doesn't necessarily it doesn't reflect those album sales. You really need to promote, and this is why giving yourself time to sell is good. Because if Selena Gomez and these artists that are in the mainstream and really hot on the circuit aren't selling those albums out according to how many people they have, then you can imagine the ratio that you're going to be dealing with as you move through. Let's just throw around a few little numbers, okay, while we're here. Let's think about some simple math. So say you wanted to make $5,000 in album sales, right, in this next little period. If you broke it up into like 1,000 people spending $5, which I would not recommend going that low, but I don't know what your fan base is like. So if you feel like, gee, you're going to give it like a little time where the people who can't afford the $14.95 or, you know, whatever it is you're going to charge need to get that opportunity to do it at like $4.99 or $5, then by all means, give it to them as a really early pre-sale that they can only do for like a couple of months before it goes into the regular pre-sale. So that's what I'm saying, is you can move up the price. So say you got 1,000 people to buy it at $5, that's $5,000. So then you give yourself another block of time to pre-sell. And say you get 500 people to buy it at $10, or to buy 2 albums. Your previous album and this album at like $15. Now you're talking about if they bought it at $10, you've got another $5,000. If they buy it at $15, you got even more. So if you're going to go to $14.95, at what point you're going to go to $14.95, you have to make that decision on the calendar. Give yourself plenty of time, right, so that you can figure this out. This isn't going to happen in a week. This isn't going to be after the music is launched. We're going to back off and take just as much time planning as we did making it, right? So say we're going to sell 335 albums at $14.95. That's another $5,000. So now we're talking about a division of sales over a period of time of which the sales went up but you made $5,000 and had to sell less. So can you imagine if you kept up the amount of marketing and the strategy and made 1,000 sales each time you made your mark? Then you would be making a great amount of income on the album. I don't know how much each of you are going to put into your album, so that I don't know. Make sure that you're recouping, because you definitely want to be profitable on the end. You don't just want to be in this cylinder cycle. And I have to say that with social media today and quality music and knowing your niche, you can get those album sales, because I've seen a lot of people do it who really understand the power of their image, the power of music video, the power of live streams. I've seen so many people really work the live streams, even just Periscope, which goes live on Twitter. Just work one and you will get there. But you have to be consistent and you have to have that goal. Now, I always recommend that you figure out this number that you need to reach for the year and you work backwards, because if you reverse it, you get an idea in your head of how much money you actually need to make, and so therefore you can set your goals appropriately. And that's a really important point, because if you have no goal in mind, then you won't ever sell anything. I noticed that one of these little magic things that you can make the universe work in your favor is by having that sales goal and knowing what you got to go and do every single day. So sometimes I'll tell a client that I'm working with, well, what if we shot for, in the beginning, 18 album sales at $14.95 a day? Would that make us how much? That would make us $280 a day, right? A year. And that would be $100,000. Just think about that. 18 album sales. How many people? You have hundreds of people. There's like 50 billion people out there on social media. In your niche that you're producing, how many people do you figure you can come across if you weren't in the studio and you were just dedicating yourself to social media and live streams, doing t-shirt sales, maybe promoting a vinyl record, just focusing on marketing? How many people could you come across? I would say a lot, because I know, even as busy as I am, I can hit a social media feed and I can generate hundreds. I've actually played around with Instagram at times on different accounts, and I have generated 250 follows in a night. Just think about that. That's 250 pretty quality new followers in a night, because I talk to them, each one of them, enough where they followed. So it can happen. You can do this. You just have to be dedicated to it. You have to know what the goal is. Because if you're just kind of shooting the breeze and just throwing things up against the wall, then you know what happens, right? It just doesn't work. Because there's no real goal, there's no real strategy of where you got to get to and how you're going to get there. Okay, so timing. Let's look at timing. And I'm doing all three segments because I just want to do it in one video. I think you guys can hang in there with me. If we get too close to, I think we're at 23 minutes now, so if we get too long, then I will cut it short and we'll do a second video like maybe next week. But let me just do timing, and then we'll do streams maybe next time, because streams I could go a little bit long on. So timing is important, and the reason why is because many of you guys want a chart. So this is something I thought I would mention. Let's just throw it into this segment. To encourage your chances of reaching a chart, you must plan the right release date. And the thing is that releasing your album on the wrong side of the dates is going to affect you more than you realize. So for those of you who don't know this, charting frame is Friday at midnight Eastern time until the end of the following Thursday. Now, any purchases or streams outside of that week will count towards the next week, and that has to do with charting. So if you don't have everything happening at the right time and give yourself enough days in the week, then you can actually kill your chances of charting. And it's really important because, as some of you know who have charted, it's, you know, maybe you're going to get 750 album sales in a week. You can get on the charts. you know, and it's awesome, but you have to time it right. That means that you're going to take your release and you're not going to rush. You're going to back off. You're going to plan. You're going to get like your music into AVA Live Radio ahead of time so that we could really, really get some strategy down and go full force really fast, all pumping into a week. Because if you want to make something happen, you're going to have to plan accordingly, right? So just think about these things. Think about your end goal and how much money you need to make, and think about when you're going to release it, how you're going to release it, and to whom you're going to release it. And if you don't have that plan in place and you really don't care, then just throw it out there. But if you really care about making this a career, then just do a little more planning and start making this part of your course of action. If you need help, as always, we are happy to work with you guys. We work with artists every single day here at AVA Live Radio. I was just talking to several of them today, actually planning their video releases and planning the album releases. I can say this though, the more you can do ahead of time with us, the bigger the impact you can make, because we can build momentum. So when we work with individuals as compared to the record labels or management, we typically have a lot more time to roll in when we're working with management teams and when we're working with albums and our labels. But when we're working with individuals, we always get the music after the fact, which is fine because a lot of you need to recycle those releases. You don't want to let them die. But if you do have the opportunity that you have a new release coming out, get it in early and let us be part of your planning stages, because at least we can give you some strategy, we can give you some help and some tips on what you could be doing with your budget to make it more impactful. And I think that that is so much better than just going out on your own. I hope this was helpful, guys. I'll be back again with another video, probably I would say next week, on streaming and how to get people playing those streams non-stop, which I kind of have a knack for getting that to happen. So happy to share it with you. Leave me comments down below. Don't forget to share, subscribe if you want the notifications so that you don't miss the live streams. And I will catch you guys again later, especially on Twitter. Bye.